You're watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.
Welcome to another episode of Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. I'm your host, Adam Marburger. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a black belt in automotive, and this show's designed to help automotive professionals grow personally and professionally to ultimately achieve their black belt. Today, I've got a special episode for you. I got a wonderful friend. I've got a thought leader in the house with us. I've got the one and only Brooke Furniss in the house. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing so much better right now. Like my day was okay, then I walk in this incredible studio, I see the one and only Adam, who's a black belt in life, obviously, and my day is instantly better.
I love it. Can you come here more often?
Yeah,
I kind of feel better about myself already. So is this your first time here in the studio? I know you've been on the show in the past with Jim, so it's your first time in the studio.
First time in the studio. It is amazing. So if anyone's not been here, this is absolutely incredible. Everything, there's like so many different sectors of this whole area, which is really cool. So once again, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, Jim and Bridget, they've done a wonderful job here.
Yes,
I mean, the technology they keep building upon, and that's why I used to do all my interviews virtually, but I really like getting people in the studio. It's more intimate. The conversations are I'm not gonna say they're better, but they're just more intimate, right? So let's talk about you. Let's talk about you for a minute. Let's talk about your company. So why'd you start your company and who do you serve? So I want to know your products and services. Why the heck did you decide to start your business?
So first off, auto industry is amazing. It is blessed both of us. I've been very, very grateful to work in this industry. My background was in the medical field of all things, and the economy tanked in 2008. My buddy goes, hey, you know more about cars and you like traveling more than anyone I know. You should take this job. And I was like, okay, what is it? It's a CRM. It's 2009. I don't know what a CRM is. So I take it, and infamous, we all say this, I'm only gonna do it for a year. That was 2009. I'm still, and at that point, I grew into other things. I've sat in about every seat there is to sit in automotive. OEM side, consulting side, dealership side, doesn't really matter. I've been in all of them. And what got me was I was in the dealership, and I go, wait, our reports, every month you're coming in and telling us we're up 10%. Brooke, you're killing it. You're crushing it. I go, that's funny, because our reports that we have don't show that. And the whole area is down, so that's really why I started my company. I don't want to be selling products. Not that more power to you, but I want to be a champion for the dealer, where we go in and say we're going to hold your vendors accountable, whether it's vendor A, B, or C. I don't really care. We're here to protect you in the building. So we go through and just make sure, hey, this is working. You're spending a lot of money here. Are you getting the ROI on it? If you're not, how can we pivot and get better, do better with that? Doing that almost like a translator of like, hey, here's all the gobbledygook you're being told. This is actually what they mean. So just going through and holding people accountable. We sit on every single vendor call, because who needs to sit on another vendor call? Right? No one does. And it takes up so much time, and you're doing what, we'll say roughly 300 calls a day. You've got another 100 to 300 emails, and you're supposed to do your job on top of that and then sell cars, work the service lane. So we give all this time back to dealers to say, you guys focus on that. We're here to protect you. We're gonna let you know that of this hour meeting, here's a 5-minute recap of what actually you need to know about it. And so that's why I started, was just to educate the dealer, give the dealer a voice, and to really just help the industry and move the industry forward.
Yeah, I love that. And dealers, have been known in the past to be taken advantage of by vendors. Dealers are, in my opinion, I own a lot of companies in a lot of different industries. This industry is the most fascinating to me, is because car dealers are the most entrepreneurial people on the planet. They're the most entrepreneurial people in the world, right? And we need to focus on selling cars, parts, service, selling service, and then the minutia of being on 100 calls a day. So that's great that you do that. Let's talk about technology for a minute.
Okay.
So, where do you see, or how do you see technology, helping a customer, but also hurting a customer? What do you see, if you could kind of allude on that a little bit?
Yeah, I take it two different directions. Number one, I feel like it's got to be like a drinking game, because we're going to say AI, and everyone's talking about AI. And I sit on so many calls and so many demos and pitches about AI, and it's not really AI. It's a whole other story. So while AI is great, I would have to hire an entire team of people without AI. So I'm very grateful for it. I also know that I am the human in the situation. And sometimes I think we lose sight of that, oh, well, I can just have a robot do it. Well, you can to an extent. The customer, we all know, like, if I have something that happens with my Amex, I'm not talking to a real person, I'm talking to a bot, but it gets the job done. It's when that disconnect happens, so there's no longer that personal level. So I'd say that's number one. Number two, from I'll say a marketing and a dealership standpoint, data hygiene is such people are more and more talking about it, but I am shocked how many people don't understand how much bad data is out there. Right now in your CRM, you've got 40% of your database it's not accurate, whether it's emails, phone numbers. Even if you're cleansing it, you cleanse it once, you have a 4% churn every single month. Just had a dealer recently where we did a campaign with a company and we didn't hygiene the data because they didn't want to pay for it. On average, the open rates for those normal campaigns we were doing was about 50, 60%. It went down to 30% just because we didn't hygiene the stuff. Wow. So there's so many aspects of how to move into technology. Obviously, AI is a huge hot button, so that's always going to be something we're going to talk about. But really vetting to say, is this AI going to help my people, my process, my products? If you're just slapping another button more or less on your website and then telling your team, oh, by the way, now you've got to log into 3 other dashboards. Well, if it's that smart, why am I making my team do way more than they were beforehand? So looking at any type of technology in that sense, but I'd say AI and the data hygiene, those are the two for me right now that are so big that need to, I won't say talked about more, but to an extent talked about more, but just vetted a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated with AI right now. Chat is my best friend. Mm-hmm. My daughters make fun of me because I am constantly asking it questions. And Brian Benstock said something I don't know if it was the last weekend. I even texted him because it was just profound. And it was along the lines that AI is not here to replace the man. Mm-hmm. It's here to enhance the man. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the wording was exact at the end, but the way he said it, I was like, holy cow, it is. Yeah. You can't turn a blind eye at it. You gotta at least get curious because your competition is, right? So I got a question. So how do you train your dealers to stop chasing just metrics and numbers and start focusing more on the experience to the customer? How do you do that?
That's not an easy question to answer. My biggest thing when I go and look at things, we've got so attuned to be like, all right, yes, it needs to sell a car. We all know that. That's very big. When you're looking at the metrics, though, of is it a vanity metric that someone is now giving you, going back to originally how I got started in the industry, it was, oh, you're out to spend more money. Well, no, show me this. So when you go back and we've gotten so, oh, I want a VDP view. Okay, VDP views are great. Is that selling a car, though? Because if they just look at it and they don't submit a lead, they don't submit a chat, they don't call, do I really care they're looking at a VDP or an SFR? No, not really. I want to know what's happening on the website. So at the end of the day, they're going to submit a lead. At some point, they're going to be on your website. So what metrics are you looking at? In this case, not to get too geeky here with GA4 in particular, we want to look at engagement. But you need to make sure that before you ever look at that your foundation is solid. So if you've got a crappy setup in GA4 or crappy reporting, what good does it do? Because you're just throwing darts and dartboards. So for my clients, they're probably tired of hearing me saying this, but going through and saying, okay, did this drive engagement? Did it sell a car? Because if you ask 100 dealers, I'm going to say 99 or at least are going to say, what does success look like? I need to move more metal. My service lanes needs to be more. Okay, great. How are we going to look at that? Because I can pay a lot of money to have marketing go to somewhere, but if my website sucks, we'll say, and it's not clean, it's very clunky, the user experience is not great, and then on top of that, we don't know what's happening, why are you spending money? So I would say for me in particular, it's really looking at what actionable items did they take on the website, or whatever marketing, if it's insert marketing, whatever, what did they do? Did that actually drive some type of store visit, whether that's a phone call, in person, chat, whatever that's going to be?
Love it. Okay. I want to kind of geek out. I used the term geek a minute ago. I'm going to geek out on digital retailing. I've been, it can be defined so many different ways. I think there's a lot of different opinions on digital retailing. Where do you think the industry or even dealers get kind of misunderstood in this realm? If you don't mind, I know you have something to say here. I can feel it.
I don't know what you're talking about here. Yeah, no, well, and to your extent, when you and I are talking about digital retailing earlier, I go, you say that term, and the first thing that normally comes to a dealer mind is, I gotta put a stupid button on my website. I don't wanna put it on my website. The OEM's making me do this. That in their mind is what it is. Now that is a portion of it. Where you're gonna run into a bit of an issue is if I say that I have, oh, Brooke, we're amazing, we're the best ever, we have a red carpet experience. Okay, when I go to your store, there better be a red carpet rolled out with ropes and everything waiting for me, because you've now it's set the standard that it's going to be red carpet and it's not there. I'll ask you, I think we both like Starbucks, right? Yeah. Is that a fair assumption? Yeah. So if I order on the app, and if I got to Starbucks and they're like, you know what, you need to go stand back in line, we would go crazy, right?
Yeah, I would be a little upset.
But yet, what do we do in our industry? We say, oh, go fill out this, it'll save you time, and then they come back and they're like, oh, we got to start from scratch. So if you're really going to do it, regardless if you're being forced into it or not, that's a whole other situation. But at the end of the day, if you're going to do it, the customer just wants transparency at the day. I know transparency, that term gets thrown out a lot. But same thing with Amazon. At no point would we go back to Amazon, and it's not just the one-time purchase. It's the reoccurring purchase. It's, oh, how many of us right now have something from Amazon? Probably waiting on our, I've been getting notifications before I got in here, it's waiting for me. If I need to return it, how easy is that experience? It's now, we think a lot of times it's the digital portion, and it is. Whole Foods, Kohl's, and if any point that process is broken, we then are like, oh, I don't know about this. So when it comes to digital retailing, there's so many things to unpack there to say, okay, are we doing what we're telling the customer we're going to do? Or are we just doing this because we're told we have to? Which then makes the user experience so much worse for the consumer.
Yeah. Well, I say this ad nauseum. In 2025 moving forward, as automotive retailers, we need to look at transacting the way our retail consumer wants to transact. It's about them, it's not about us. And there's lots of ways. You can come in the store, we can do it over the phone, we can do it online. You want to bring it, what do you want? How do I serve you? Yep. I want to meet you where you are, right? I love that. I'm glad we're in alignment. So I got a question. Let's assume here, hopefully this happens.
Probably.
I'm saying this to the dealers out in the world. If every dealer in the country called you next week and you actually took those calls, what do you think would be the first thing that's maybe broken that you might tell them to fix?
Well, I set up over 100 GA4 properties a year. Not one has ever been set up correctly. So I can tell you, there are some that are very close, but I've never seen one that's fully set up to the Automotive Standards Council of how it's supposed to be set up to measure stuff. So that's number one. Once again, you're spending a lot of money. Is this working? And as great as Google Analytics is, and it needs to be set up correctly, that is just one tool in your tool belt. So I'd take that, and then you want to take the ownership of whatever you have. So it's Facebook, Google, I don't care what it is. You need to have ownership of that. We personally will bring everything into a Looker Studio, which just is a very fancy word. It's a reporting system where you can bring in Amazon ads, Google, Facebook, doesn't matter what type of marketing, CRM, into one spot. And why that is so important from a dealer standpoint is to say, I know that I'm spending a lot of money. It's no knock to the agency or vendor A, vendor partner B, whoever it's going to be. If you're solely reliant on their dashboard, you do not know what really is happening, because not they don't have their best interest in mind. It's just that's their proprietary dashboard. So owning your data and making sure it's clean is so big. And I'll round out with going back to data hygiene. I am shocked the difference of how much more business it can bring you to your service lane, how many more cars it's going to sell, how your marketing is better, your email outreach is better. There's just so much that can be done with that.
I love that. So I'm going to get personal with you if you're okay with that. Okay. So, you seem to have it together. You're really, you're ultra professional. You're in lots of stores. How do you focus? I want to know from a personal development standpoint, like how do you stay so sharp? How do you stay on top of your game? If you don't mind sharing some of those personal traits or some of the things you do to grow yourself.
Well, I think you and I can align on this one. Like honestly, for me, I've got to be at the gym. Like that is my. I don't think I look good in orange at this point, in an orange jumpsuit. So I need to get to the gym to work off some of that energy. Let's be honest. With that, while that is very important for me, it is constantly educating myself. Okay. I need to know. Hey, people are going to come to me and say, who do you recommend? If there's always someone new popping up. We're just talking out at the lunchroom over there, saying all these new companies are popping up. It's probably impossible to know everything, but I'm going to do my darndest to try to figure out, hey, is that a good company? And like vet them. So constantly doing that, getting as many demos as I can. If you hear me reach out to someone, it's because I really want to know more about your product, so I am better educated. That maybe it's a good fit for XYZ person, or oh, now I know what this is. So really taking the time to just throw yourself, and because we do have AI, so much of this can be searched as well, but just taking the time, sit with the dealers. I also say a lot of us will sit on whatever side it is. If you're not in the dealership, please take the time on a regular cadence to get in the dealership. Because we can sit there and preach that you need to do this and this. When was the last time you sat behind the desk and watched the chaos unfold?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people lose sight in that. So there's multiple things from a personal level to just education, doing everything I can to grow my education.
You said something profound there. I don't even know if you know it, but you said something profound, Brooke. But you need to be in the store, right? So dealers can smell BS a mile away. car dealers, like I said, they're the most entrepreneurial humans that's ever walked the earth. They can smell BS a mile away. Yeah. They know who's retail and who's not retail. And I think it's really important to get in the store, help out, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, help. And that's how you keep clients for a really long time too, when dealers actually see that value. So that's really good stuff. So I love book recommendations. So if you've got, whether it's a client or a human or a family member, whatever it is, you got somebody maybe stuck in the past, maybe in their own way, what would be a book you would recommend them read?
So I was thinking about this a little bit because I get asked this question a lot. And I would go, if it's going to be from an analytics standpoint, I think we all know George Nenny. Anything George Nenny does about GA4, it's awesome. So I'd highly recommend that. From a business standpoint, I love Unreasonable Hospitality. That is such and I know obviously everyone knows it, but for someone that's like, okay, how can I do better today? Like, what could I have done differently to help that person? And constantly thinking 10 steps ahead of how you could have better served the person.
Yeah, Will's amazing. Service is how we make people feel while we're doing the thing that we do. And I love that book. Kind of just, when I read it the first time, I had to reread it. It really just made me think about how I operate everything in life. What he did at 11 Madison Park was profound. I mean, he built it from the inside out. It's about serving. It's about serving people. The thing is too, if you put others first and meet people where they are, it's more profitable. We make more money by just doing things the right way. So this has been great. I really enjoyed chatting with you. What's the future of your company look like? What's new? What's on the horizon, if you're allowed to share with your company? Where are you guys headed? I'd like to know.
Yeah, Matt, that's a very, very good question. For me personally, it's just continually, I have been really big, and you and I were together a couple months ago, and we were discussing just entrepreneurial in general, and I've been very, very keen on how I grow my business. I want to go slow. I never want to sacrifice quality for quantity. Okay. That's just not in my bones. I do want to get to a certain spot, yes, and have the company at a certain spot, but I'm never going to sacrifice that. That being said, honestly, it's how many more people can I help? That might come off as cliche, but that is in my bones of how can I better help you? We may never do business, but that's a ripple effect that later on, it's going to come back to you at some point. Amen. So for me, it's just continually growing and helping and educating as many dealers and agencies, whatever it's going to be that wants help, I'm here for them. So
speaking of help, what's the best way for someone to get hold of you? What is the best way to follow you?
I'm about everywhere. So you can call me, you can text me, you can anywhere on any social media I'm on it. We've got obviously the podcast, you've got the podcast everywhere, or just personally, if you. I will get back to you. And sometimes, as we all know, we travel a little bit, but if it's a text and you have text is probably the easiest to get a hold of me. Yeah, well, this was fantastic. I really appreciate A, coming on the show, but B, traveling here to the studio in person. It means a lot. So thank you for your time. This was wonderful. So thank you.
With that being said, thank you all for joining in to another episode of Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. Remember this, if nothing changes, nothing changes. We must be willing to take action in our stores. See, training is not something that we did, it's something that we must do, and we must do it on a continuous basis. Here's my final sound off. Fights are not won in the cage, they're not won in the ring, fights are won in training camp. Let's get to work.
Thanks for watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.